One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey everybody, welcome to the, what is today? Tuesday? Days just seem to be flying by. Tuesday evening show. I'll actually get through what I had planned to talk about earlier this morning, but then with all the Israel and Iran stuff, it just kept getting pushed, and then so much stuff was happening, so I couldn't even, oh, wait a second. What didn't happen there? Oh, I'm talking, but you can't see me. Sorry, my fault. That's kind of day it's been all day long. But in any event, I didn't get a chance to get through the entire show that I had planned earlier, so luckily I still have it. And we're going to go through a bunch of the stuff that actually happened before the Israel and Iran thing blew up. There was supposed to be people out there, again, Trump was supposed to speak. Trump's going to speak. Trump's going to speak. And then about an hour ago, they said that President Trump called a lid and he was done for the day. A lid means you're not going to be on camera, you're not going to be talking to press or anything. It doesn't mean, however, that you won't be posting. So I've been monitoring, and I'm sure throughout the show, SV will be monitoring as well, but as of nothing, he posted something about 2 hours ago about the FBI and spy agencies, which is what we're going to be talking about right now. Okay, so let me do the lead-in for this in a second. So a lot of stuff has happened. A lot of stuff is going to continue to happen. The Ayatollah has now said, all bets are off. We're not going to compromise, blah, 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 blah. And tonight or sometime in the near future, you're going to see something that's going to be the biggest thing in centuries. They always talk in grand illusions. Always. I don't know if it's their bravado, as if they're testosterone, but they talk in huge, 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 huge things. And then nothing happens, and then they're back to where they are. Sort of like Zelensky. These guys all talk crap. And until you're not around to talk crap anymore. So, do any of us know what's happening? No. Nobody seems to know what's going on. Well, actually, there's one man one man and whoever he's trusting. Real quick, you may have seen Kristi Noem was transported to the hospital by ambulance tonight. The news with that is that she had an allergic reaction to something, but she's doing fine. So that's kind of scary. So much happening. So let me continue. Your warmongering friend, as they try to tell me on X that I am now a warmonger. A neocon, somebody called me. Never heard those terms before, but whatever. Makes you happy, go for it. I don't care. What? Wait a minute. How could I possibly say I don't care without giving you the full Broadway production?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't. There's so many, like SV does a great job, Roaring Rage, Severo, Beth, Ashley when she's in here, everybody at Robin, they all do a good job in trying to keep the community nice. Keep the idiots away. And as soon as you talk about Israel, for some reason it's a magnet, a complete magnet for idiots. Idiots that come in and want to become all kinds of anti-Semitic, and then from there you're either a warmonger or you're a neocon or you're a grifter or all these different things that they just want to keep saying because you had the audacity to speak favorably about Israel. So if any of y'all in here tonight, if you have the urge to complain about Israel, let me just tell you one thing. First and foremost, more than likely one of the mods are going to boot you. And the second part that you always have to remember when you're calling me names.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I know that bothers them more than anything. Number one, they get kicked out. Number two, I don't give a crap. I'm living a good life. I got a great wife, got a great daughter, grandchildren. Hope you guys do the same. All right, so in any event, let's get to some news because that's why you're here. I want to show you this. This is what President Trump just posted, and it's from Just the News. FBI asks spy agencies to destroy intel on alleged China plot to aid Joe Biden in 2020. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about this. I don't know if it's the same article. Let me see if it's the same article. Let me click here and see if it takes me to the same place. Okay, so no, it's a different article, but it's been very prolific. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know who John Solomon is. John Solomon used to be on, he's on Fox sometimes. Excuse me, I'm going to have to sneak. I'm going to end up sneezing in a second. John Solomon, he used to be on Fox. He used to be on Hannity quite a bit. He's not on as much anymore, but he now has a website called Just the News. And Just the News came out with a blockbuster story yesterday. So I'm trying to see which one came out first so I can make sure I do it in time. June 17th, that was today at 4:27, and I believe this one was yesterday at 4:16. All right, so let's look at the first one first, because you like to go through first things first, right? First things first. John Solomon, I believe, penned this article. I think it was him, indeed, who did pen this article. So let's look at this article and go through it. Actually, it was by John Solomon. Here's the title of the article. The title of the article is FBI gives Congress info on alleged Chinese plot to create fake mail-in ballots in 2020. Says FBI Director, let me move this over for you. FBI Director Kash Patel on Monday evening turned over to Congress an intelligence report raising concerns that China had mass-produced fake U.S. driver's license to carry out a scheme to hijack the 2020 you-know-what, can't say it here, with fake mail-in ballots for Democrat Joe Biden. The newly declassified intelligence reports from August 2020 weren't corroborated or fully investigated. Instead, were recalled from intelligence agencies at about the same time Then FBI Director Chris Wray testified there were we don't know nothing, no known plots of foreign interference ahead of the 2020 event in which Biden beat Trump, officials told Just the News. The new documents were turned over to the Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, who had first raised concerns to the Bureau that the intelligence hadn't been fully vetted and instead was just dismissed, even though there was evidence of fake licenses. Thanks to the oversight work and partnership of Chairman Grassley, the FBI continues to provide unprecedented transparency at the People's Bureau, Patel told Just the News. To that end, we have located documents Chairman Grassley requested, which detail alarming allegations related to the 2020 U.S. event. All right, so this is huge. I mean, it's monumental. Now they have actual proof that Christopher Wray knew what was going on with these mail-in ballots and still ignored everything, didn't tell anybody, and just let things transpire. More than likely, if you guys are playing along since, 2017, this doesn't surprise you. But those of you who are new, you're probably going, huh? Yes, we all knew, Trump knew, everybody knew, we just weren't allowed to talk about it. And then you'll hear the stuff about, well, it was thrown out of 95 courts and nobody, you know what the courts are doing now, right? Same courts. They didn't want to hear it, they didn't want to give it any standing, didn't want to give it any ground, it didn't matter. Let it go, it's over now, don't talk about it anymore. I'm surprised I haven't got the clip yet. But anyway, let's finish. Specifically, these include allegations of plans from China to manufacture fake driver's licenses and ship them into the United States for the purpose of facilitating fraudulent mail-in ballots. Crazy. Allegations which, while substantiated, were abruptly recalled and never disclosed to the public. So those of you wondering what Kash Patel has been doing, this one was probably a priority for President Trump. Go get this stuff. They sat on it. We know they sat on it. Now we've got control of it. Why Christopher Wray's not in handcuffs or James Comey's not in handcuffs, I can't tell you. But now it's getting out there. It's getting out there and it's being talked about. All right, it says, in accordance with Grassley's request for the documents, I have immediately declassified the material and turned the documents over to Chairman for further review. Officials who have seen the documents told Just the News the FBI had a relatively new confidential source, somebody flipped, who provided information in summer 2020 that the Chinese government was manufacturing and exporting fake driver's licenses. Hold on, read that sentence again. Officials who have seen the documents told Just the News that FBI had a relatively new confidential source who provided the information in the summer of 2020. Summer of 2020, they had a snitch, a whistleblower, who's like, hey man, they're doing some really funky stuff over here. And he got shut up. Don't tell anybody. This was months before it was time to go to the polls. And they knew it. This is stunning. This is what my show was about earlier today. Couldn't get to it. The intelligence source claimed the plot was specifically designed to benefit Joe. They also said the intelligence report was recalled within a few weeks and the allegations never fully investigated, on the grounds that the source needed to be re-interviewed. But in fact, another agency, the Customs and Border Protection, had intercepted nearly, you ready for this? 20,000 fake licenses around the time the intelligence came in and a possible corroboration of the report. So they had a whistleblower, per se, who said this is happening. Then all of a sudden there's 20,000 driver's license that CBP confiscates at the border and goes, what in the hell is all this? It corroborated what the whistleblower said, and it got ghosted. Nobody dared talk about it. This is a fraud on the entire country. Whether or not you're a Democrat or Republican doesn't matter. It's still a fraud on the country. It's still a crime against America. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. It's still a crime. And it was covered up by the deepest recesses of our government. I want you to hear this video that was on Just the News with John Solomon and Mike Benz. Listen to this.
I'm shocked, and it takes a lot to shock me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
When this story first broke, I thought that there must be some details about it that are more speculative than you can rely on. But the more I read the piece that you published and saw what Cash submitted to Chuck Grassley, there are several levels of this that are concerning almost beyond belief. So obviously the first family itself was taking millions of dollars from China. The Biden first family through Hunter Biden and China CEFC Energy, China CEFC Energy was taking $5 to $10 million in consulting fees from Chinese energy firms as Hunter Biden was flying on Air Force One to China with Vice President Biden in order to secure those deals. Biden's CIA director, Bill Burns, took millions of dollars from China when he was the head of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace for 7 years before becoming CIA director, taking CCP members and putting them on Carnegie's board, as well as forming a joint Carnegie-China center so that they could cooperate more closely. Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was the managing director of the Penn Biden Center, which took millions of dollars from China. So all the way up and down the entire foreign policy establishment of the Biden administration, from the White House to the CIA to the State Department, you had millions of dollars being juiced by the Chinese government the entire time. And then the more you think about this story, the more shocking it gets when you think about the massive biggest election censorship event in human history, which was DHS CISA's censorship of the 2020 election, specifically to stop election misinformation, which was all run out of a group that Chris Krebs formed called the Countering Foreign Influence Task Force, which you would think would have been the exact task force at DHS set up to stop something like this and set up to be responsive to something like this, when in fact it did the exact opposite. They told us there was no foreign interference. Now, how does the FBI know this, and the CIA know this, and the DHS task force, who is responsible for stopping the domestic side of this operation, not be informed? How is it possible that this intelligence was circulated at the FBI and CIA levels, but not at the DHS level?
I'll answer that for Mike. It's not possible. It's not possible whatsoever. They all knew. Except maybe Joe, he probably didn't know what the hell was going on, but his complete inner circle. Everybody who was involved with the management of everything about Joe Biden, everybody who was involved in his campaign, everybody in the FBI, a higher level of the FBI and other agencies, they all knew it. When you hear this kind of stuff, you should be starting to realize how big of a impediment Cash and Pam and Dan are facing. You're facing a crime that is bigger than anyone could ever imagine. The taking down of a campaign. I can't say the E word because these people here would get ticked off. But now we're seeing what really happened in 2020, and it's only 5 years later. They knew. And I've said this many a times, the Democrats look, and they've read the Constitution. They read it differently than you read it. You see, what they were looking for is, what's the remedy if we do X, Y, and Z? What can they do? How can they stop us if we do X, Y, and Z? And it seems to me like, and we've been learning more and more, that they found things that weren't in the Constitution, that weren't covered, and said, guess what? If we do this, there's no off switch. There's nothing there to stop what we're going to be doing. Why? Because our founding fathers, who thought of so many different things, didn't realize we'd have complete scumbags in the opposing party. As much as these guys probably bickered and have problems with each other, they were honorable men for the most part. They could not even have imagined where things are here in 2025 that people would actually go to this level to cheat. Cheat. And pay people off. And they would be inside the government. Insiders. Let's continue.
So that is an immediate question for Chris Krebs and Alex Stamos.
Well, we can actually answer the question for you, Mike, too. The document I actually saw the document and got some of the quotes from it. It was circulated to the Department of Homeland Security in addition to the CIA. So they were, now it doesn't say CISA, it does say DHS, so at least the senior component got it. And when it was called back, they asked all those agencies to destroy it. So it was sent out to Homeland.
Now get this. The DHS censorship operation run out of CISA, together with EIP, this 4-group consortium of 120 individual censors monitoring the entire internet across 15 different platforms to censor pro-Trump tweets or anyone who cast doubt on the integrity of the 2020 election. In the slide deck presentations of those censors who were set up by DHS, who got to use CISA's 24/7 cyber mission control to flag tweets, in those presentations, they specifically finger out a specific tweet by Donald Trump on June 22nd, and I'll read it. Rigged 2020 election. This is all caps. Rigged 2020 election. Millions of mail-in ballots will be printed by foreign countries and others. It will be the scandal of our times. Now, DHS's censorship network specifically cited that tweet as one of the reasons they needed to scramble to form this wide-spanning, totalizing censorship operation. And the fact that they specifically were set off by tweets by Donald Trump insinuating that foreign countries may be printing ballots or taking advantage of the mail-in ballot system in the operation that Cash just laid out, while that was the triggering tweet among several others to set up this entire censorship operation, while DHS had inside classified knowledge that is exactly what was going down and that Donald Trump was in fact correct. So they set up the censorship operation. In part, it would seem to suggest that their knowledge of this at the senior level of DHS or at the Chris Krebs level may have been motivated in part by a desire to keep quiet these very.
As you're listening to this, if your blood pressure's not going up, congratulations, because I'm like, are you crapping me? Are you serious? Now we all know for sure. And they're all sitting there having Mai Tais and martinis and laughing at it. Yeah, we screwed America. Yeah, good luck doing something about it. 5 years later, I don't even know what the statute of limitations on this stuff is. I don't understand how they're going to be able to even be tried. I don't even know what they're going to define the crime as. Just think, every single one of these fake driver's licenses that they found is a potential vote. They don't know where they went to, it's a nightmare. Nobody ever envisioned that these people would be so huge of scumbags that they would do something like this against the country. And that's not even counting releasing that thing from China. They went all out. They did everything. They wanted to cover every single base. Think about this for a second. They didn't want you to even go to work or anything else unless you had that. That was like the first line. Then if you questioned it, they shut you up with censorship. Not allowed to talk about it. Nowhere. To this day, if you talk about it, they put a little label under your videos. Facebook might just tell you go away. It was a perfect murder. We're going to go ahead and unleash this thing that's going to make people sick and then we're going to make sure that these people have to take this thing that we're telling them isn't going to make them sick anymore, and then we're going to tell them, yeah, you can't even talk about it. I want you to let that set in. That's somebody breaking into your house, stealing your stuff, and then saying you can't tell anybody we did it. And they're still walking around smiling at us. There's still, many of them are probably still in Congress. Nothing has happened to them. They've looked us in the face and gave us, as Dan would say, the double barrel salute. I'm above the law. I proved I'm above the law. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? All right, so now you know. So what? What are you going to do about it? We own the judges. You think for an instant that if one of these people gets actually charged and they get hauled into court and have to go into, the grand jury, and then they got to go to court, they'll be looking at their watch. What time am I out of here? Because I know what the judge is going to do. Nothing.
Scandals, because as China was backing the entire Biden foreign policy establishment, literally and monetarily, the idea that China would be exploiting this would be a massive, massive, massive scandal, especially on the heels of Russiagate, where that entire apparatus used all of that power and abuse of the FBI and Justice Department in order to go after foreign powers interfering in elections. That could have been a scandal that could have tipped the election. So the idea that not only would they censor it at the FBI and CIA level, but that DHS itself could be activated to censor anyone who might suggest that a foreign body like China may be exploiting the mail-in ballot system.
You see, so many people thought they were censoring us because we were just Trump fans. We were Trump supporters. Shut them up. No, they were censoring us so that other people wouldn't hear what we were going to be saying. I can't even tell you how many people I know, including one sitting right out there, who was booted off of Twitter. Get out, get away. Luckily, I wasn't booted. I don't know how, but they let me stay. To this day, she doesn't have her original account back. To this day. And so they basically pulled off the most perfect crime ever. A crime so perfect that you know and you still can't do anything about it. Imagine that. You know what happened. You can actually probably point to the culprits. And nothing has happened. Nothing. And now it's coming out and it's making people mad again. It's like, seriously? Are you absolutely serious? It's insane. So that was Article 1. Then Article 2, which basically says the same thing, how they gave it to Kash Patel. You can follow it up on John Solomon's website. It's pretty intense. And I wanted to show you this. This is Kash Patel talking about it. The FBI has located documents. Just let that part sink in. The FBI has located documents. So they've been sitting there. They've been sitting there, and Christopher Wray completely ignored them, which detail alarming allegations related to the 2020 thing, including allegations of interference by the CCP. I have immediately declassified the material and turned the documents over to Chairman Grassley for further review. And this is the article that we just looked at. What did Grok say? Yeah, so now we know. Now we know that they know that we know. It's a tongue twister. What are you guys going to do about it? As far as I know, Chuck Grassley does not have the power of arrest. So this kind of confused me when I read it. When I read this and it says, the FBI has located documents which detail blah, 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 and I declassified them and turned them over to Grassley. Shouldn't that say I've turned them over to Pam Bondi for her to take action on it? That's not what it says. I'm telling you, I don't think anyone is ever going to jail over this. Trump is president now. What he's going to have to do is make sure, A, it never happens again, and B, somehow change the court system, because these judges are all fruitcakes or criminals. Because if you march somebody in today, they're like, oh, wait a second, that was 5 years ago. What evidence do you have? Oh, you don't have anything. We're going to dismiss. This is the kind of stuff that I've been talking about, and many other people have been talking about, when we say that this is probably what needs to happen with Gitmo and the Andrew Jackson thing. This is the kind of stuff that's beyond the ability of the normal court system. We had people who tried to take down the country, and now we have actual proof of them correlating with a foreign power. What would you call that? What would you call people who are trying to hurt the country and they're working with another country to do so? Isn't that like the basic definition of treason? I mean, those are the ingredients. You're working against America with another country that's providing you with whatever you need to do to hurt America. Yep, that's treason. That's absolutely, as far as I know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a constitutionalist, but that sounds like treason. You tell me what you think it is. You tell me how you would define what you're finding out right now. If you didn't know and you're finding this out for the first time, what would you call it? So then once you figure that out and you say, okay, yeah, it sounds like it could be treason, what do you do about it? Because that's the problem we're having right now. And if I have this pained look on my face, it's because, damn. This isn't supposed to be this way. And you've got whole legions of people out there on the Democrat side that just don't seem to give a crap. I'm going to take some comments here before I do that. Bear with my grifting self here, as some people like to say. You know, one thing people don't realize is just how much of your overall health starts right here in your gut. If you're constantly tired, feeling bloated, breaking out, dealing with brain fog, or struggling to lose weight, it might not be random. A lot of that actually can trace back to your gut health. That's why I personally have been using Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition. It's not your average supplement. It's real fermented kimchi loaded with over 900 strains of probiotics, plus enzymes and antioxidants, all packed into simple daily capsules. Since I started taking it, my digestion has been smoother. I've got more energy, as you can tell, doing 2 shows per day for hours at a time. Fewer cravings, except for my cookies. And I've even noticed clearer skin and better focus. And this just isn't my experience. Clinical studies back it up. Kimchi's been shown to help with your metabolism, your blood sugar, and even weight management. No mess, no prep, no strong taste, just real results. Kimchi One is non-GMO, all-natural, dairy-free, gluten-free, and 100% made in the USA by a company that truly believes in wellness and integrity. Right now, you can get 25% off your order with the code BARRY at mybrightcore.com/Barry. But I would urge you, just like I do when I talk to you about gold and silver, to get an even better deal. Call them, because they'd like to educate you on this. Call them at 888-418-6738 for up to 50% off, free shipping, and even a free bottle of vitamin D3 with your order. Take care of your gut, and the rest of your health will obviously follow. Again, that number is 888-418-6738. All right, so let's take some comments and tell me what you guys are thinking about this insanity. You can't trust Democrats at all. Nope, you can't. This is destruction from within. And yes, we need the military. That is the only way. That is the only way. Maximus, hey, brother. If anyone has the stones to prosecute these people, it is Trump. He's going to have to pull the pin on this stuff real soon. There's no way this is going to go through a court. Not going to happen. Let's see here. They don't give a crap. And once again, zero will be done. And again, David, I understand being upset, but I don't think it's zero will be done because nobody wants to do it. That's the difference. Zero may be done because there's nothing really you can do based on, statute of limitations and that kind of stuff. But I gotta believe people want to do it. They just can't do it. Woody says, I'm pissed. You're right, Barry. I believe this is treason. I am so much in shock, I can't think. That's how I felt when I read it myself. I could not believe I was reading it and listening to John and Mike Benz talk, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Why isn't this on every... Oh, well, we know why. Why isn't it on every newscast? Because they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to mention it. You've heard so many of the press gaggles on the airplane. They don't even talk about it. Too many corrupt judges. Yeah, absolutely. There's a few Republicans that need to take a look at this stuff too. They may be in on it. Trump's executive order 2018, Biden kept renewing it. Foreign interference. Felix says Trump was always right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are many people in here who go back to the days of that 17th letter when everyone called this nuts. And damn if some of that stuff just hasn't come through just the way he said. Crazy. Blondie is the next Sessions in bar. I hope not. Wanted to double check. Where'd that go? Okay. Anita went and looked. She said, I wanted to double check. There is no limit or statute of limitations for charging someone with treason. Maybe that's the case they're building. Maybe with all this and now China involved, and now they can probably check bank accounts and find where the money's flowing. If there's no statutes of limitations on treason, that might be it. That indeed may be it. I'm seeing a lot of people. Yeah, but as Stella says here, the military is the only way. You cannot say it. I'll say it again. We cannot prosecute our way out of this. We cannot vote our way out of this. I'm not sure what President Trump is waiting for. Maybe he's waiting for the big, beautiful bill to get signed, which I understand the rescissions probably is not going to get passed either. It's going to fall short. It's going to fall short because of Republicans. These people just don't know how to win, or they just don't want to win. Let's just say, Barry, if you don't mind, can you show a close-up of the koi art behind you that Robin did? Oh, this one right here? Yeah, I can. I don't know how well it will do if I bring it in, but I will definitely show that to you. It will all come out at once. I hope so. Cornell Law School website has a definition of treason. Let's see here. In the United States, there is no statute of limitation for treason. Under federal law, capital offenses, including treason, can be prosecuted at any time without a time limit. Maybe that's just it. Maybe that's where they're headed, and I certainly hope so. So I want to let you guys know when we do the Rumble jump over, I've got a guest coming on at 8:30, so I got to hurry up and finish the rest of this. Might have to push him back. I'm not sure if I'll be ready right at 8:30. So let me get to the rest of my show. So I'm not sure if you guys heard of this, but there's a big thing happening with Big Pharma. Listen to this.
Shares of Pharma Stocks, as the Trump administration weighs a crackdown on pharma ads, they are in decline. According to Bloomberg, this news, and shares of Pfizer and AbbVie, they are falling to session lows amid the report. The Trump administration is discussing policies that would make it harder and more expensive for pharmaceutical companies to advertise directly to patients in a move that could disrupt more than $10 billion in annual ad spending. Although the U.S. is the only place besides New Zealand where pharma companies can directly advertise, banning pharma ads outright could make the administration vulnerable to lawsuits. So it's instead focusing on cutting down on the practice by adding legal and financial hurdles, according to sources cited by Bloomberg.
Bloomberg. All right, so they're going to go out here and they're going to try to limit what pharmaceutical companies can do in advertising, which we've all been waiting for. Those of you guys who followed the campaign and everything, you may remember this.
One of the things I'm going to advise Donald Trump to do in order to correct the chronic disease epidemic is to ban pharmaceutical advertising on TV. There's only 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical advertising on the airwaves. One of them is New Zealand and the other is us. And we have the highest disease rate and we buy more drugs and they're more expensive than anywhere in the world. Italy spends about 1/6 that we spend on healthcare, and Italians live 7 years longer. So whatever they're doing does not work. And don't you want a president who's going to fix this country?
All right, so that was one of the pillars that RFK Jr. wanted when he accepted the role from Donald Trump. Now, you've seen what has happened with these judges. As soon as the ink would be dry on any type of order stopping pharmaceutical advertising, they would be in the courts faster than you could blink. Even though we banned cigarette advertising somehow, that was okay. And even though we banned a lot of alcoholic advertising, they were able to do that. But now it's going to be very, very, very hard to ban pharma ads. Because if they ban pharma ads, bye-bye MSNBC. Bye-bye CNN. Maybe bye-bye Fox. These networks can't exist without pharma advertising. They would completely crumble. There's no way they can afford to pay Rachel Maddow $20 million a year. Not a chance. Nobody's watching that crap. Yet they're getting these monstrous salaries. Who's paying these salaries? How are they continuing to pay these salaries? They probably make a minimum of $1 million a year. And then they get their limos and go from the penthouse to the studio. And it's all funded by Big Pharma. So if Big Pharma goes away, bye-bye. Bye-bye, networks. You're not... That takes off 70 to 80% of their revenue right off the top. There aren't many businesses in America that could survive if 75 to 80% of your revenue just went poof. Now imagine these massive networks losing 75% of their revenue. They'd be toast. So of course, the very first thing they would do is run to the courthouse and they would get a temporary restraining order. We've now seen it. We've seen it for everything. As soon as they're told they can't do something, they run to the judge. So what this gentleman was saying was the way to do it is you're probably not going to be able to say you're banned. But what you probably are going to be able to do is say, okay, you can advertise on TV, but you have to do this, 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 and this. And you've got to do this, this, and this, those are going to have to be ironclad as well, because then they will sue about this, this, and this. So this is going to be a massive, major fight. This is probably going to be as big a fight as anything you've seen, because it involves this. And as you're watching this transpire, as it's now being floated out there, yep, it's time to come for the pharmaceutical advertisements. Whew. Just think, if it's those of you who listened last night when I had on Dr. Haim, and he was talking about the different things they did with kids. Everything revolves around pharmaceuticals. Every single one of these networks, all the stuff they do, it's all pharmaceutical advertising. And especially if you got an older market. If you turn on some of these news channels, you know Fox has an older demographic. You know CNN probably has an older demographic as well. What do you see? the little blue pill that it do the well, Jardian. I mean, they're singing like it's, Teletubbies. Hey man, this is supposed to be a drug, and you're making it look like it's a Broadway musical. And you're not telling people everything, because if they took this stuff and knew what it did, they wouldn't take it. The disclaimer, it might cause cancer, it might cause your ears to fall off, your left nostril may close up, but you might feel better. Why would I take that? And they speed talk it at the end. So this is going to be one of those things that they're going to need you. They're going to need the people here to begin talking about it and screaming about it, and letting everyone in America know we need to stop this. Why would anybody, think about this for a second, and this is, I'll talk to Cam about this when we talk about the paid protesters, but why would anybody on either side of the aisle have a problem with pharmaceutical ads going away? You're going to see it. Oh, they'll be complaining, oh, Donald Trump is doing this. But if you ask them, hey, why do you have a problem with that going away? What does it do for you specifically that you got to have pharmaceutical ads on all day? No, they're paid orcs. They're going to be paid to get out there and complain about it. Because otherwise, well, most of them probably don't even know what it is. Imagine being 18, 19, and 20 and hearing about what's the fat people, Jardian, the diabetic pill. I don't care. They don't even care about the other blue pill that makes things go, yeah, they don't care about that either because they're not doing it. So it doesn't affect them. And so why would you complain if it doesn't affect you? Yet there's so many people reliant upon so many drugs at this point. I mean, one of the things, it's funny. In my knee, because of football, I've been taking cortisone shots. And when I stopped taking my cortisone shots, it swelled up after a month or so. It was hard to walk even. And we were talking to one of our new sponsors that we're going to be onboarding. And they're like, hey, try this. And you won't need any more cortisone shots. I'm like, well, I ain't got to take any drugs? Nope. What's in it? Just amino acids. Just amino acids, huh? That's all you're saying? Yeah. And it works? Yeah. All right. So I'll find out. I'll take some amino acids and see what kind of inflammation goes down in my knee instead of taking a shot every 6 months. I'm not a candidate for a knee replacement. They just keep giving me this doggone shot. And I don't want that shot. I don't want drugs in my body. What about you? You guys just want to take drugs to take drugs? No, you probably don't. And so why do they need to keep pushing this? Because they need that brand awareness. Notice what they always tell you. Go ask your doctor for this stuff. Well, if you can't give it to me and I have to go to get my doctor to give it, oh, that's right, so the doctor gets paid. And when I go to the visit, right, yeah, and then he's going to prescribe this stuff. And then the pharmacy gets paid. Oh, everybody's getting paid because you're advertising. Stopping pharmaceutical ads, and this is from someone who was been in the advertising business for quite some time. Stopping pharmaceutical ads would be absolutely game-changing. It would be phenomenal. Let's see here. The Medical Association is a union. Look it up, doctors. Don't take them unless I'm sneezing my guts out. I think we learned a lot over the last couple of years about trusting doctors and taking things. Unfortunately, let's see. You now advise drugs? No, I don't advise any drugs. What are you talking about, bro? I'm saying I guess you missed that part in the clarification. I don't want to take any drugs. I prefer to be natural. I have done a lot of different things in my life, and I've taken shots and some recreational shots when I was playing football, if you know what I mean. And at this point in my life, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. So I'm not advising anybody to take anything. Let's see. Big Pharma tried to stop holistic medicine and over-the-counter herbals and vitamins. Yep, absolutely. Let's see here. Antidepressant drugs is a huge problem. My gosh, somebody did a study on how many people are on antidepressants. Ooh, boy, that'll drive you crazy. 67, never sick, no medications. Wow. Every time I go, they try to put me on a new med, and I'm not going for it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be devastating for the, or as Lori says, it would be devastating to the fake news. You know, hold your nose, go like that, and watch about, 30 minutes of MSNBC. Turn the volume down so you don't watch, and look what commercials come up. Yeah, they would be toast, absolutely toast. All right, just so guys, let you know, here is the link. And it's always going to be the date. So if you guys keep a copy of that, it's going to be Rumble June 17th, which is today, and we'll be jumping over soon. Let me go ahead and get to the next story because I'm on a tight time frame with an 8:30 appearance today. All right, so I don't know if you've been following this. The Democrats have been whining once again today. I can't believe they're doing this. Oh my God, you're arresting us.
Let go and show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Sir, where is the warrant? Look at my hand here. I would like to see the warrant. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. Take it.
So what you're watching is a New York politician. I think he's a candidate for mayor. And he decides he wants to get in front of ICE as well. I'm going to go down and I'm going to tell these ICE guys what for. I'm going to tell them, you cannot take these people off the street. No, you can't do it. You got to go through me. Okay.
Let's go. You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
I love how these guys talk in the background. You don't have the authority to do exactly what you're already doing. You can't do that. Oh, babe, you watch too much of Matlock or something. You can't do that.
You don't have. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I have to see the judicial warrant. Am I asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant.
We go too. Sorry. No way. I'm safe. Where are you taking us? Hello?
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens, where are you taking me? And with what authority?
Why are you arresting me?
With what authority?
And where are you taking me? No!
Security details. Number one is going to go with him, all right? Hang on, where's number one? Hold on. Brett, number one right here, all right?
Do you want to know what I really think? Please. It's bullshit.
Oh, they're all tough, aren't they? Oh, that's the new stance from the Democrats. Swear as much in public. You're an official, but just go ahead and just swear. Doesn't really matter.
How dare they take an elected official who's been going down there for weeks to escort people who are afraid to walk into a courthouse in the United States of America because despite them having legal status and following the rules and making their appointments, that they don't know what's going to happen to them. So Brad Lander has stepped up to be a guiding help for them. And this is what happens to him. What the hell?
What the hell? So he has stepped up to be a guiding light to newcomers. People aren't supposed to be here. And again, once again, they are rallying behind those people, not the other people in New York who can't go anywhere, who can't walk down the street, who've got garbage and homeless people. No, you don't count. What about my safety? My wife loves going to New York. She lived in New York. And if you want to go up and see a play at this point, you need an armed guard from your hotel to the theater and back. Well, you live in actually Gotham right now. You are the governor of Gotham. It's insane what's going on in New York. Absolutely insane.
What's happening to this country? I just left Little Haiti. People are being traumatized. Small businesses, people walking down the street. When I was there in August, the streets were mobbed. People walking down the sidewalks. There were vendors everywhere.
You mean before the election? I mean, it's what? It's June now, so you're talking August of 2024. Oh, the new sheriff hadn't come in yet. The new sheriff who's basically taking care of things. So what you're saying was it was mobbed and everybody was happy because it was full of newcomers and nobody was doing anything about it. But now President Trump is doing stuff and people are scared.
Traffic was crowded. Today, there was silence. People are living in fear.
No, people are not living in fear. Newcomers are living in fear. You guys ain't got it right yet. You're not understanding. You're on the 20 side of an 80-20 issue and you won't stop because you can't stop. Your plan to usurp the American voter has completely failed and imploded and you just can't believe it. OMG. It didn't work. He found out. And they're taking these people out, and the other people are terrified, and they're self-deporting, and you're watching your utopian dream crumble right before your eyes.
One woman just told me the ICE agents are going in and out of buildings there. They came here with legal status. Temporary protective status was legal. Tens of thousands of people came here with legal status, and it's literally ripped away from them. And that's when I got word of what had happened to my colleague in government, our controller, Glad Lander. The video is shocking. I knew I needed to come down here immediately and check on his whereabouts and do what I could to intervene. I'll let Brad speak about his experience. To my knowledge, the charges, there are no charges. Charges have been dropped.
Why have the charges been dropped? Because they weren't federal charges. And of course, the New York courts and the New York system is going to just let people back right on the street. It's a revolving door. You see, but they don't care about him. That's exactly why Tom Homan just, hey, you can take him. It's the other people we want who are federal criminals. So if we're just getting him out of the way for the time being, that's it.
Outside of there, a free man. But here.
Okay, so now this guy. I can see Cam is in the green room, as I call it, so I've got to hurry up and get through this. But this is the guy who rushed the stage against Kristi Noem, and he's quite tearful right now.
Forced to the ground. First on my knees, and then flat on my chest. And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why. I pray you never have a moment like this. But I will tell you, in that moment, a lot of questions came to my mind. First of all, where are they taking me? Because I know I'm not just being escorted out of the building. Am I being arrested here? And what will a city already on edge from being militarized think when they see their United States senator being handcuffed just for trying to ask a question?
All right, so we're going to do the Rumble jump over here in a second. And we're going to talk to somebody who can be basically the counter to this guy and Kabby Hochul. Somebody who was actually in the fray, who took pictures and was physically assaulted himself. And nobody seems to be calling him and saying, hey, Cam, are you okay? I mean, seriously, you okay, man? I understand that people beat you up and they beat up women and they did. Yes, they beat up women. but they're crying because, his fifi's hurt. He got thrown down on the floor and handcuffed. He was treated gently compared to what you're going to see happen to Camp. Gently. It's absolutely sick. So as you see this, I'm going to go to the jump right now. Oh, wait a minute. I got to do super chats real quick. And then once I do the super chats, we will be jumping over. And you're going to get to hear directly from somebody who was out in Seattle, who saw what these nuts are capable of physically. Not just because, their feelings are hurt because he's a congressman who got thrown to the ground, but somebody who actually got beat by these people and no help came whatsoever. All right, let me just do the super chats and then we'll jump over. But you're not going to want to miss this. Let's go here. Okay, let me pull this up. All right. Mega Mama, thank you, Barry, Mod Squad, and Fanfare family for always keeping it real. Thank you. Mr. Mike, what happened in 2020E made Watergate look like petty theft. You can't even write a crime story this good. Nope. Petty quarter, organized treason, more than 2 witnesses. There is no statute of limitation on treason. Have another country try for them for the, the jabademic. FL, I make kombucha Deneen, Darlene. Kombucha, yeah, that's you gotta get used to that taste. Laura Gray, they must be held accountable. We have to make them accountable. Tommy Radcliffe, Major Tom to ground control. What's up with the crazy left down there? Have they learned nothing? Will they ever learn how lucky we are to have Donald J. Trump? Don't even know. They seem to be lost. Ozark Ghost Hunter, a pic or someone holding a nuke warhead was released by Iran media. David Harris shared it. A nuclear warhead went missing during the Obama administration. Yep. Who knows what's coming? Mr. Anderson, Grassley voted against Doge cuts. Deep State. Carl Hassenauer, treason is a federal crime. The statute of limitations does not apply. Let's do that. FL, I can't jump to Rumble. Where is your link? It's on the screen right now, honey. Mr. Anderson, Roosevelt Hotel is still full of illegals and getting paid. Diane Toroyan, we knew this all along. Treason, I'm pissed and sad. Donald Trump has been through hell and back just because he loves America. Completely. All right, so you guys know the drill. I'm going to play the break right now, and when we wake up, we'll be on the other side. We'll all be on Rumble. Hope you guys can join us. I know I sound a little bit rushed, but I have a deadline or time here, so let's get it.